a top children's hospital, nearly destroyed our baby's health. How did nobody stop it? I thought Franciscan Children's Hospital would give my 12-month-old son, Jackson, a fighting chance. Born with heart defects, a trach, colostomy, and a jejunal feeding tube, he'd already survived 3 surgeries. Long-term rehab felt like the safer option. Instead, I watched his care unravel. Nurses fiddled with his ventilator settings without charting a thing, suctioned so deep they admitted breaking the 11.5-centimeter safety line, and left the same mold-speckled tubing in for days. Monitors screamed while he gurgled, yet no one came. My fiancé and I sprinted in, cleared his airway, and reset alarms ourselves. One shift doubled his Ativan just because, leaving him limp and pale. Another rammed the feeding tube against his stomach wall. He cried until the meds knocked him out. When we begged for explanations, staff dodged or shrugged. After 6 nightmare weeks, we demanded a transfer back to Boston Children's. Their team gasped. Jackson arrived dehydrated, crusted with dried blood around his trach and ears. Charts missing entire med doses. Retrieving the rest of his records turned into a bureaucratic shell game. Emails unanswered, pages redacted, timelines altered. Meanwhile, Jackson's twin, Jaden, waited at home in Manchester, healthy but confused by our constant absences. We ping-ponged between hospitals and nursery, running on cold coffee and fear. We filed complaints, met with administrators, and hit brick walls. I'm speaking up here because silence protects only the institution. My son deserved competent, documented care. Now we want accountability before another child pays the price. A story from Fin Improvement 2114.
I'm hearing a classic systems failure. Overworked staff, missing protocols, and zero transparency spelled disaster. The OP's terror was a diagnostic clue that nobody on the floor was listening. Next step, lawyer up, demand an external audit, and insist on a chronology of every undocumented adjustment.
Hold up. Before we paint the whole hospital as villain, let's ask who signed off on those untrained hands. Maybe a money-saving administrator shaved the staffing budget and dumped newbies on night shift. I'm not excusing the mess. I'm questioning the chain of command everyone's ignoring.
Chilly, this place turned into a haunted house for babies. Alarms screaming, nobody home, moldy tubing like Halloween decor. If Jackson could talk, he'd be like, y'all better call Scooby-Doo because something shady lives in that supply closet. Laughter aside, somebody's license needs immediate exorcism.
Enough storytelling. Time for action. File for every piece of documentation under HIPAA. Retain a malpractice attorney, and blast the timeline on social media with receipts. Hospitals hate sunlight. The OP can grieve later. Right now, he must weaponize the facts before they quietly disappear.
Politics? Fake. Drugs? Hidden. My glam night became a date disaster. I spent 2 hours over tapas with a guy I'll call Marcus, who swore online that he was sober, progressive, and baby-friendly. 10 minutes in, he praised psychedelics, called both parties trash, and announced kids were overrated. When I reminded him those were my deal breakers, clearly listed on my profile and in our pre-date chats, he smirked and lectured me about being too rigid. I sat there in full makeup feeling duped while he rattled off half-baked talking points. This isn't my first bait and switch. More than once I've met men who lie to slip past my filters, hoping their charm will bulldoze my standards. Newsflash, it won't. I'm allowed to want a sober partner whose politics align with my own. It's literally my job. Stop faking compatibility. It's manipulative, wastes everyone's time, and guarantees 0 second dates. A story from I Really Just Like Salad.
OP's boundaries are clear as neon tape. Sober, same-side politics, future kids. Marcus played compatibility cosplay, then tried a guilt trip when busted. That's manipulation 101. Set screening calls, trust your instincts, and remember, anyone who argues with your standards is announcing they'll steamroll them later.
Hold up. Yes, Marcus lied, but OP's profile reads like a security checkpoint. When your list starts to feel like an FBI clearance, you'll naturally attract resume patterns. Maybe loosen the net. A quick pre-date video chat could filter frauds without treating every suitor like a hostile witness.
Girl, you spent 2 hours babysitting a human Reddit thread. Next time, invoice him for mascara depreciation. If someone shows up saying, both parties are trash, that's code for, I have no idea who my senator is. Toss him a breadstick, call the Uber, save your eyeliner budget.
Enough venting. Act. Post clear deal breakers, then run a 10-minute phone screen. The second someone contradicts himself, end the call. Stop giving liars free dinners and ego boosts. Your time, money, and emotional energy are finite. Guard them like rent money.
Widowed at 35, I'm asked to adopt my late husband's kids. Will I say yes? My husband Jason and I had been childhood friends who reconnected in our late 20s, years after he'd kicked a college-era drug habit and won full custody of his little girls, Lily and Rosie. For 5 solid years, we raised them together. I was never mom by name, but I did every lunchbox, bedtime story, and PTO meeting. Last summer, Jason relapsed. To shield myself and push him toward rehab, I moved out. He took the girls to his parents' house, promising to get clean. A week before Thanksgiving, he overdosed. While I was still numb, the girls' biological mom, Tara, recently jailed for burglary after yet another relapse, sent me a raw letter. She wanted me to adopt the girls, admitting she might never conquer her addiction and begging me to keep them safe in the only home they really knew. I loved those kids, yet panic flickered. Single income, future relationships, endless court drama, and the fact that Jason's parents worship image over therapy and were furious I had abandoned their son. They filed for permanent custody and dismissed counseling as unnecessary. That refusal decided things for me. Teaming up with Tara, I petitioned the court for guardianship, offering to submit to every background check and home study imaginable. The grandparents, both in their mid-60s, retaliated with an injunction claiming I was unfit and that family should come first. Translation, their surname. Legal bills pile up, but I've listed the house Jason and I bought before the market boom. The profit will cover lawyers and create a nest egg for the girls. I've lined up therapists, a guardian ad litem, and the dog is still waiting by their bunk beds. Lily and Rosie tell every social worker they want to come home. I'm terrified of the fight. Yet more terrified of them growing up thinking the people who loved them most quit when things got hard. Their dad's addiction was one battle I couldn't win, but keeping his daughters safe, and hopefully happy, is one I can. A story from Due Independence, 5527.
OP's hesitation isn't weakness, it's informed consent. She's scanning a minefield, inherited trauma, financial strain, grandparent power plays. Her pivot point was the therapy veto, classic sign of generational denial. By choosing the kids' mental health over family ego, she's modeling the very resilience they'll need.
Hold up. Are we sure Granny and Gramps are villains? Maybe they're terrified of losing the last pieces of their son. Still, refusing therapy is a self-own. If they want to win, they'd better prove they can evolve. Right now, OP's the only adult adjusting the playbook.
I swear this family tree is a telenovela. Rehab roulette, prison pen pals, grandparents auditioning for Succession. Yet the girls just want Snack Mom back. Somebody hand OP a cape and a coupon book, because she's about to become the budget superhero of suburban PTA.
OP, feelings acknowledged. Now lawyer up, document everything, and set hard boundaries. If the grandparents trash talk, let the courts see it. If Tara wavers, walk away. These kids need stability, not sentiment. Either you commit 110% or you step aside. No halfway parenting. Banned my toxic aunt from meeting my baby. Did I go too far? I'm 45, married later than most, and after years of hoping, my wife and I finally welcomed our baby boy. My relative lives several states away, which is a relief because my father's sister, Aunt Diane, has bullied me forever. As kids, she whispered to my older brother that our parents loved me more, told my parents I'd land in juvie like her own daughter, and still critiques my weight or any slip-up. The tipping point came when she barged into a lunch with a coworker who'd been praising how I mentored her. Diane sneered that I'm incompetent and a bad person, leaving my colleague stunned. That scene proved the abuse wasn't harmless teasing, so I declared Diane would never meet my son. At a cousin's recent wedding we flew home for, she spotted us and charged over. I scooped my baby, pivoted, and mingled far away while she fumed. Later, some relatives murmured I should have played nice because it was a joyous event, but my wife backed me. Biology isn't a backstage pass to belittle me or one day, my child. After the trip, I spoke with Dad and my reasonable Aunt Maria. Both agreed to keep Diane away and understand I'll exit any gathering she hijacks. Boundary set, stress lifted. My boy will grow up surrounded by love, not cheap shots. A story from Alternative File 408.
Let's decode. The aunt's barbs are a power grab, not playful ribbing. OP's boundary is the vaccine. The family's discomfort is a mild fever. Shift responsibility where it belongs, onto the provocateur. Maintain the blockade until she shows consistent, verified respect.
Hold up. Everybody's blaming OP for joyous event rudeness, while Aunt Diane has spewed venom for 45 years? Miss me with that. The boy isn't a therapy prop. If relatives crave Hallmark snapshots, tell Auntie to audition for Basic Human Decency 101 before the camera rolls.
Picture Auntie Doom sashaying at the wedding like a budget Disney villain, firing insults instead of confetti. OP pulling a toddler-powered exit? Chef's kiss. Family photos can wait till Cruella learns to compliment, not combust. Meanwhile, baby gets cake minus the toxic sprinkles.
Dude, boundaries aren't rude. They're policy. You drafted it, posted it, and enforced it. Stick with the play. Zero access until she delivers a written apology and 5 years of civil behavior. If she balks, that's her choice. Your job is keeping your kid's world clean. He found out mom spent his college fund. Now she wants cottage cash? I was 18 and packing for university when my mom, Linda, casually admitted the college fund I'd been told about was gone. Dad had handed her 4 years of tuition in cash, but after the first deposit, she spent the rest on who knows what. She begged me not to tell him and swore she'd pay me back. I nodded, took out loans, and kept up the charade by thanking them for money that never existed. Fast forward 15 years, I'm 33, still repaying those loans, and Linda practically lives at our family lake cottage, her prized possession. My girlfriend Emma and I only snag 4 summer days there, which Linda already resents. Last week, she announced I should start covering my share of maintenance. She threw out $1,000 like it was pocket change. I smiled and told her to deduct it from the tuition IOU and to loop Dad into the discussion. Her jaw hit the dock. Hours later, she texted Pages accusing me of manipulation and threatening our close relationship. I'm torn between hurt that she can't ever do something simply kind for me and anger that I'm still carrying debt from her theft. Am I really dredging up ancient history? Or is it finally time she faces the bill? A story from Old Bookstore 1900.
Mom pocketed tuition cash, then frames a maintenance bill as fair? Classic narcissistic ledger keeping. The OP finally sets a boundary by linking costs to the original debt. That's not manipulation. It's emotional bookkeeping. Next step, full disclosure to Dad and airtight repayment plan.
Hold up. Everyone's roasting Mom, but the OP kept Dad in the dark for years. That silence greased the whole scam. Maybe Mom's the thief, but the OP's secrecy let the cottage guilt trip bloom. No heroes here, just a family discounting honesty for comfort.
Girl, imagine a punch card titled Mom's IOUs. OP's got enough holes to knit a blanket. Now she slaps a $1,000 cover charge on a 4-day stay? Please, sell popcorn. This cottage has more drama than a Real Housewives reunion on a pontoon.
Stop dancing around it, OP. She stole, lied, and still feels entitled. File the receipts, tell your father, and refuse another dime until every loan dollar is repaid, interest included. You're 33, not a kid. Act like the accountant she never was.
Dad's secret daughter? Teen refuses DNA test and sparks family storm. 5 years ago, when I was 12, a stranger messaged my mom claiming my dad had fathered her 3-year-old daughter. She sent side-by-side toddler photos of me and the girl. Same caramel skin, she insisted, and demanded a paternity test. Before anything could happen, Dad landed in prison and the woman disappeared. We chalked it up to Facebook drama and moved on. Fast forward to tonight. Dad is back home. I'm 17, and the same woman has popped up again. Now her daughter is 8 and asking who her real father is. The woman still refuses to give her full name, yet she wants a DNA test. And if Dad won't comply, she wants a sample from me. I'm skeptical. Dad's eyes are vivid hazel green, Mom's are bright blue, and I wound up with both colors swirling together. The little girl's eyes are jet black, and her nose looks nothing like ours. Could genetics skip that far? Maybe, but my gut says something's off. Dad is deeply involved in my life. If he knew about another child, he would step up even though she lives 2 states away. The woman is married and financially secure, so why wait 5 years to reach out? When she accused us of ruining her daughter's life, I finally told her I wasn't comfortable handing over my DNA. I felt awful, yet the whole situation smelled fishy. After stewing, I confessed everything to Dad. Mom showed him the screenshots, and he agreed it was odd that the woman never filed anything legal. Still, he's decided to take a paternity test and settle this once and for all. I'm relieved the pressure is off me, but anxious too. If she really is my half-sister, I've missed 8 years of knowing her. While we wait for the lab results, I just hope the truth, whatever it is, ends the midnight messages and gives that little girl a clear answer. A story from Teeth Graveyard.
I'm clocking a classic paternity power play. The mom's timing, 5 years silent, then urgent, signals guilt or leverage. A simple court order would settle things, so why recruit a minor? OP's boundaries are reasonable. The adults need to adult. Step 1, dad tests, lawyers formalize, kid gets answers.
Hold up. Maybe mom stayed quiet because dad was incarcerated and unreachable. OP's eye-color detective work is shaky. Genetics love curveballs. If dad really wants clarity, a cheek swab is cheaper than all this drama. Refusal risks looking like fear, not principles.
Honey, calling a teenager for spit samples is wilder than sliding into Drake's DMs. Mama could have mailed a legal notice. She chose Facebook sleuthing instead. Meanwhile, OP's over here building CSI Iris Edition. Somebody cue Maury because you are the father makes better TV than this group chat.
Enough dithering. Dad created the doubt, dad fixes it. Get the test, accept the result, support the child if she's his. OP's feelings matter, but they don't override an 8-year-old's identity. Adults stepped up late. Now, step up right.
Calling out my drama queen friend. When I tell her she's the problem, all hell breaks loose. I'm 22, and my best friend Tessa, 23, thinks the universe has it in for her. Last year, she quit a steady office job after a tiny dispute over workflow, then filed a complaint against the coworker who dared disagree. It became a pattern. Anyone who criticizes her gets reported, blocked, or blasted. 4 of her pets, 2 fish, a gecko and a rabbit, have died because she forgot to feed, clean, or heat them. She wails for weeks, demanding sympathy. Yet when I lost a family friend, she had no time for me because my poor fish sent her into another depressive spiral. This month, she stormed out of a cafe job after routine performance feedback and attempted to report the whole company. I texted her dozens of job ads. Everyone was too far, too corporate, or sounds toxic. Then she moaned about unemployment in the group chat. Any plan that isn't built around her becomes a personal slight. If I skip a night out, I think I'm better. If I suggest bowling, I'm selfish. She even tried to brand my respectful boyfriend a creep for booking a hotel on a weekend trip with me. In her eyes, most men are predators, most people are evil, and simply liking a movie with a cancelled actor makes me complicit. The last straw was her accusing me of copying her, because I unknowingly bought the same tank top and later pierced my belly button. I snapped and told her none of this was bad luck or curses. It was her own neglect, paranoia, and expectation that the world bend for her. She burst into tears and hasn't spoken to me since, leaving me to wonder if my honesty crossed into cruelty. A story from Creative Hope 6099.
OP finally pierced the delusion bubble. Tessa's stuck in a classic external locus loop. Every discomfort is someone else's fault, so she never learns. Honest feedback hurts, but without it, she'll keep bleeding jobs, pets, and friendships. Boundaries plus therapy, not sympathy, are the prescription.
Hold up. Tessa's obnoxious, sure, but OP waited until the boiling point, then detonated. That's not honesty, that's emotional napalm. If the friend's truly depressed, the rant felt like betrayal. Maybe the group's chronic tiptoeing built this monster. Early, calm pushback beats last-minute explosions.
Girl, 4 dead pets? Dr. Doolittle's filing a restraining order. And reporting entire companies like she's HR Batman. No feedback on my watch. I'm cackling. OP's speech was the plot twist we paid for. Somebody had to cancel her VIP pass to Victimville.
OP, stop guilt-tripping. You stated facts. Adults can't dodge accountability behind tears. If she can't keep a fish alive or hold a basic job, she needs therapy and a reality check. Not friends walking on eggshells. Hold the line and let consequences do the coaching. From FWB panic to heartfelt date. Will fear sabotage love again? Barely an hour after my first post, I called my friends with benefits, Lily, blurting that I knew she had feelings and that I didn't share them. The words flew out because my last breakup still haunts me, and fear felt safer than hope. Conveniently, I had therapy that afternoon. On Dr. Reyes's couch, I unpacked the knee-jerk rejection and realized I'd lied to both of us. I do crave more with Lily. I sat alone afterward, letting the truth settle, then dialed her again, straight to voicemail. I texted, asked to meet in person, and she agreed to hear me out over dinner. Across the table, I owned every messy detail, the ex-induced trust issues, the panic, the misfire. Then I told her what's real. Her laugh is the soundtrack in my head, her smile, the screensaver behind my eyes, and if she can be patient, I want us. She squeezed my hand and said yes. So this weekend, I'm taking her on our first official date. A story from Impossible Fun 7483.
Classic attachment wound whiplash. The OP's reflexive rejection wasn't about Lily at all. It was his amygdala reliving the last breakup. Kudos for seizing the therapy window, slowing the limbic hijack, and returning with vulnerability. Next step, mutual pacing rules. Frequency, exclusivity, emotional check-ins to keep fear from rewriting this chapter.
Hold up. Are we crowning OP a hero for basic communication? He slammed the door, then yanked it open once he felt lonely. Lily's patience is saint level, but she shouldn't have to babysit his triggers. If he backslides, I hope she keeps her exit shoes by the door.
Y'all, this man hit the eject button faster than Netflix asking, "Still watching?" Then came crawling back like, haha, just kidding, babe. Luckily, therapy upgraded him from FWB to boyfriend material. Lily, get that free dinner and make him spring for guac. Emotional growth tastes better with extra guacamole.
OP, good hustle choosing honesty after the fumble. But momentum matters. Schedule the next check-in now. Draw boundaries with your trauma. And quit hiding behind "I'm scared." She said yes. Earn it. If you freeze again, step back into therapy before dragging her through another emotional fire drill.
Boyfriend won't stop weeping over his ex's engagement, then he proposed to me. When I met Cameron 3 years ago, he was charming yet guarded, and I chalked it up to a high school ex named Lena who'd supposedly taught him not to be vulnerable. We were long distance until I moved in last year, and life felt steady. Until a January night, I woke to him quietly sobbing over Lena's Facebook engagement post. From then on, he'd break down twice a week. Swearing therapy was pointless and dodging every question. 2 months later, he disappeared for an entire day. While searching for answers, I found a hidden chat file where, during our relationship, he begged Lena to leave her boyfriend, declared undying love, and even used my accounts after she blocked him. My head was spinning when he finally came home with an elaborate breakfast and a ring box. His pitch? Our 3 years together were an adventure, and now that Lena had moved on, he should too, by marrying me. Furious, I refused to be a consolation prize and called my dad. I moved out that afternoon. Cameron's grief turned to harassment. 40-plus calls a day from burner numbers, claims I'd stolen from him, pleas to mutual friends for their Skype logins. Mom helped me change my number and reminded me to lean on people who love me. Every friend backed me once they heard the real story. Dad even hand-delivered the unwanted ring back to Cameron. Weeks later, I learned Cameron had flown to New York, staked out Lena's office, and, predictably, went home alone. Meanwhile, I started therapy, landed a paid internship, and met coworkers who radiate the kindness I deserve. Some days, I second-guess walking away, but then I remember the midnight sobs, the stalking, and that panicked proposal. I don't know who I'll marry, but I now know I'll never again settle for being anyone's backup plan. A story from Direct Caterpillar 77.
The OP's boyfriend never processed that teenage breakup. He just slapped emotional duct tape over the wound. An engagement post ripped it off, and now everyone around him bleeds for it. Until he owns that grief, every partner will feel like a rental car on a one-way trip.
Let's pump the brakes on villain talk. The OP saw him worshipping an ex from day one and still invested 3 years. Why do we gamble on potential when reciprocity is MIA? Romantic optimism is cute until it turns into self-inflicted heartbreak.
Girl, he was ugly crying into Facebook like a daytime soap extra. Then, panic bought a ring from Rebound Jewelers. That's not love. That's emotional Black Friday.
Grab the last TV because the one you really wanted sold out.
Facts only. 20 burner calls a day is stalker math, not romance algebra. Document, block, and if he shows up again, involve authorities. Your safety and self-respect outrank his meltdown every single time.
I discovered my wife's huge money secret right after our wedding. Now what? 4 months into dating, I snooped and learned my girlfriend Layla once paid her bills through sex work, but I chose silence when she swore her wealthy Moroccan parents had cut her off. She soon bounced back, claiming dad had resumed wiring cash. Her spending stayed sky high, luxury clothes, daily takeout, yet she never worked. When we rented a London flat, she coolly dropped $11K for 6 months. Rent up front, insisting it came from her parents. My gut clenched, so I asked for proof. Layla texted a screenshot of $11K transfer from Baba. 2 months later, she got locked out of her phone and asked me to log into her online banking. There sat the real transaction, money sent from her own account to herself. On the day of the supposed parental transfer, I confronted her. She doubled down, called the screenshot real, and blasted me for spying. I begged for clarity. She shrugged. Think what you want. We just married. Her UK spouse visa ink still drying. And suddenly every memory feels staged. Trust is MIA. Finance is hazy. And I'm left wondering whether I married for love or played sugar daddy in a drama I never auditioned for. A story from Ginger Beer's Half Souls.
OP married a walking riddle. When someone hides income, they're hoarding power. That forged screenshot screams, I own the narrative. Until finances go transparent, intimacy is just stage decor. Grab a couples therapist, demand full bank access, and force this truth into daylight.
Hold up. OP isn't just a victim. He's a co-author. He snooped twice, saw red flags flapping like carnival banners, and still signed papers. Maybe both play a hustle. Her with mystery money, him with willful denial. The forecasting villains? Check your own script.
Ha, she basically graduated Photoshop University, summa cum shady. Meanwhile, OP's over here starring in Finance CSI. Somebody livestream this. Designer bags, self-to-self transfers, spouse visa cliffhanger. Get the popcorn before Netflix buys the rights to Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Reality check. You married a liar who treats money like a state secret. Either demand full disclosure, lock down joint accounts and lawyer up, or accept you're bankrolling her double life. Love without transparency is expensive fan fiction. Choose your ending.
One casual date led to a 911 call. Am I really to blame? I matched Ray looking for something short-term, took her out for sushi, and we ended up at my place. I paid, cuddled, and offered my couch so she wouldn't walk home. She later called that love bombing. 4 days before her cross-country move, she texted, "Want to be exclusive?" I reminded her we'd met once. Both of us were relocating and I didn't want long distance. That night she called drunk crying, looping the same plea. Mid-sob she whispered about ending it, told me not to blame myself, and hung up. My stomach dropped. I dialed 911 for a wellness check. An hour later an officer rang. They'd rushed her to the hospital after an overdose and said I'd saved a life. Relief slammed into guilt. I keep replaying every choice, re-downloading the app, agreeing to sex, refusing exclusivity, and worry I'm toxic. Part of me thinks I should swear off dating completely, but my head is spinning and I don't know what to do. A story from Opening Safe 1919.
The OP mistook courtesy for courtship, while Ray mistook proximity for permanence. Their unspoken expectations collided like mismatched train schedules. Lesson: clarify intentions after the first date, not after the first meltdown. Emotional safety plans belong alongside condoms in any casual sex toolkit.
Hold up. Are we pinning an adult woman's life choices on one polite dinner? Maybe Ray weaponized vulnerability to secure exclusivity. That doesn't make OP a saint, but let's not crown him villain of the year for declining a 6-day fling's forever contract.
Girl, this is why dating apps should come with hazard signs. Swipe at your own emotional risk. One sushi roll, some blanket cuddles, and suddenly she's drafting wedding hashtags. OP, next time, deliver a vibe check along with the check, okay?
Reality punch. Her attempt is tragic, but not your accountability application. You stated terms up front, responded to crisis, and called 911. Guilt solves nothing. Stronger boundaries and clearer aftercare do. Own your part, drop the martyr cloak, and go book therapy instead of exile.
I lost my license. Now my parents refuse to foot the registration bill. I'm 28, and thanks to a medical suspension, the DMV benched my license 15 months ago. My fully paid off Mazda instantly became the household's spare wheels. With 7 adults and only 4 cars, my parents grabbed my keys for every grocery run and work shift. Mom loves that she no longer sits outside her job for 2 empty hours, and Dad brags about the gas mileage. Meanwhile, I've shelled out $400+ each month for rent, groceries, insurance, and chores, while earning a reduced medical salary, and haven't touched the steering wheel once. When the $200 registration notice landed, I figured the drivers should cover it, so I politely asked my parents to pay this year. Instead of gratitude, I got eye rolls. Mom labeled me entitled, Dad declared, not a penny, and the room froze. I reminded them the title and insurance are solely in my name, and that if I were healthy, they'd be juggling their original 2 cars again. They still refused, shocked I'd even suggest it. Now I'm torn. Cough up $200 for a car filled with their coffee cups, transfer temporary ownership, or let the tags lapse and park it until my license returns. I love my parents and thought our give and take was solid. So their blow-up has me rethinking our house rules and wondering who's really being unreasonable. A story from Avatar Dang. OP's mistake was assuming family reciprocity runs on logic. Their parents equate car access with parental right, not negotiated privilege. A calm sit-down clarifying owner versus user boundaries and future contingencies once OP drives again would reset expectations. No guilt trips, just clear ground rules.
Hold up. Everyone's dragging the parents, but OP's still getting discounted rent and free parking. What if that $200 is the silent fee for cushy lodging? I'm not saying the parents aren't freeloading on the wheels, but OP might be freeloading on the roof. Two-way street, folks.
Imagine mom swiping OP's keys like a Netflix password. No shame, all convenience. Then clutching pearls over a $200 bill. Honey, that's barely a month of Starbucks runs. If they love the Mazda so much, maybe start charging rental in banana bread. Let's see the outrage then.
Reality check. Registration is OP's legal obligation until the car changes hands. Either transfer temporary ownership, park the vehicle, or pay up. Hoping for parental fairness is fantasy. Contracts beat expectations. Draw the line now, or expect repeat episodes when insurance and repair bills roll in.
Twins plan midnight escape from toxic mom to meet the dad they never knew. I'm 19 and a twin. For as long as I remember, our mom adored my brother, Brian, and treated me like the family scapegoat. Groundings, slacks, name-calling, even banning me from swimming at Brian's own pool party while she called me a slut. Instead of soaking up the favoritism, Brian became my shield. He sneaked me cake, shared every gift, forced friends to include me, and even staged birthday themes he knew I loved so I could blow out the candles. When mom ordered me to get a job and then siphoned half my paycheck for household costs, Brian got hired too and secretly split his wages with me. Last winter, a buddy gave him a 23andMe kit for fun. The results matched us to Matt, a half-brother who quickly connected us to our biological dad, Daniel. Daniel explained that mom ditched him while pregnant, claimed the babies might not be his, and vanished. On video chat, he wept, recognizing his own face in ours, and introduced us to a massive, loving family, grandparents, 7 aunts and uncles, and dozens of cousins. For months, Brian and I quietly gathered documents, saved money, and mapped our escape. We're leaving the night before our 20th birthday, driving to Daniel's state to start fresh. I asked Brian if he was sure. Mom always loved him. He said, any woman who could humiliate, hit, and steal from his sister isn't a mother worth keeping. Tomorrow night, we lock the door behind us, celebrate our birthday with people who already love us, and finally breathe. I'm terrified, ecstatic, and endlessly grateful for the brother who never let me drown. A story from Spiritual Invite 7913.
The OP's mom weaponized favoritism as control, but Brian refused to be the executioner. His constant inclusion rewired that power dynamic, shifting the twins from victim golden child to united front. Cutting contact isn't revenge, it's boundary setting. Trauma stops when the targets walk away.
Hold up. Before we crown Dad Savior of the Year, remember, he took 2 decades to send a PI. Still, Mom's scoreboard is ugly. Abuse, lies, isolation. So yeah, OP owes her nothing. But let's keep our eyes open. Every family tree has fresh sap and rotten apples.
Mom's villain era is straight out of a bargain bin telenovela. Slapping the daughter, then crowning the son. Girl, please. Brian pulling Mission Birthday Rescue with that cake had me cackling. Now the twins are speed running the parent trap in real life. Pass the popcorn.
OP, grab your documents, block her number, and don't look back. Abusers thrive on second chances. Dad and the cousins can't heal you. That's your job. Therapy, boundaries, financial independence. Start yesterday. Celebrate, then grind. Freedom requires follow-through.
Ambitious mom pushed son to suicide. You won't believe his final goodbye. I'm the middle twin in a German family of 5 kids. Our oldest sister, Anya, has worshipped status since childhood. Top lawyer, marriage to my heart surgeon friend Marcus, and a son, Leon, whose life she micromanaged from age 2. No play, only flashcards, tutors, piano. Saturday afternoons with our laid-back parents were his single breath of freedom. At 16, the pressure snapped. Leon stole hospital benzos and tried to die. 5 months inpatient, 3 months in a group home. Then a quiet year living in my 3-story place let him heal. Marcus woke up, divorced Anya, and did family therapy. Leon moved back with him last summer and entered medical school. In court, Anya sneered that a weak child deserved to fall, and even the judge called her a terrible parent. January brought her a mini-stroke. Facing mortality, she reached for Leon. He replied he didn't care whether she lived. She rang me for comfort, and I asked, "What did you expect?" Relatives scolded me until they read this story and grasped the history. My brother confronted Anya, had her read the thread, and she finally looked defeated. She decided to move to another state, severing all legal and emotional ties, but wanted one last meeting. At my brother's house, she muttered an apology and announced her exit. Leon wished her farewell. I echoed him. A few days later, she phoned, laughing at rumors she might harm herself, bragging she no longer needs our acceptance. I hung up, hoping she finds peace far away. The family is scarred, yet with Anya gone, the cycle of harm stops. A story from Lucy Aria Rose.
Leon's sentence wasn't cruel. It was data. Decades of emotional foreclosure built a wall so high a near-death scare couldn't crack it. Anja chased dominance and bankrupted her trust account. Homework, intensive therapy, and zero contact until she earns basic humanity.
Everyone's busy booing the villain. But let's audit the sidelines. The OP, parents, and surgeon dad all clocked the warning signs, yet froze until pills hit the bloodstream. Monsters thrive in silence, folks. Complicity wears many sweaters.
Sis treated her kid like a resume with legs, then gasped when he hit delete. Parenting isn't Shark Tank. You don't get equity in a human IPO. Leon's emotional 404 response? Chef's kiss comedy. Karma delivered overnight shipping.
Enough sympathy marathons. Leon keeps ironclad boundaries. Marcus monitors triggers. And the rest get group therapy. If Anja calls, hang up. She showed you her user manual. Believe it. Protect the kid. Move on without guilt.
Invited to the ceremony, banned from the reception. Should I even go? I'm 27 and only semi-close to the bride, Lily, a high school acquaintance, who still loops me into a lively group chat. We meet for coffee once or twice a year, so her ivory and gold invitation surprised me. The ceremony is in her remote hometown, either a $700 flight or a brutal 16-hour drive. But I plan to tag on a mini vacation and swallow the cost, assuming there'd be no reception because the invite mentioned only vows and light refreshments. Wanting company, I messaged Maya from our 5-woman squad to compare travel options. We groaned about airfare and signed off. Next morning, Lily slid into my DMs. Quick clarification, the reception is super small, so only Maya, Jess, and Carly got invites. Hope that's okay. Translation, every friend in our circle but me makes the A-list. She added that if enough cousins say no, she could maybe squeeze me in. I suddenly pictured myself in a motel room while my friends clink champagne inside. Hundreds of dollars, 2 vacation days, and a parking lot pity sandwich? Hard pass. I'd rather stay home than be labeled a Tier 2 guest. Now I'm leaning toward RSVPing no and skipping the gift altogether, but I can't decide if that makes me the jerk. A story from Good Second 5902.
The OP's hurt makes sense. Lily rewrote the guest list but forgot to update her relational contract. This tiny exclusion signals you're not inner circle, while still demanding outer circle effort. Healthy friendships accept limits upfront. OP can decline gracefully and redirect that airfare toward people who reciprocate.
Hold up. Maybe Lily assumed OP would pass because travel's insane. She gave her ceremony access so feelings weren't torched. Then prioritized seats for daily friends. Not elegant, but strategic triage. If OP wanted inner circle status, yearly coffee dates weren't cutting it.
Girl, Lily basically handed you a clearance rack invite. Enjoy the vows, but don't touch the cake. Skip the flight, grab popcorn, and stream a rom-com instead. Cheaper, zero jet lag, and you can ugly cry without waterproof mascara. Bam, problem solved.
Stop waffling. RSVP no. Invest the save $1,000 in your student loan and move on. Friends who slot you as standby aren't worth PTO. Send a polite decline, skip the gift, and keep scrolling. Your dignity and wallet stay intact.
Best friend stops a midnight bridge leap, but can their bond survive the aftermath? I've been crashing at my childhood friend Jordan's place for 5 blurry, booze-soaked years, hopping between dead-end jobs and burning through his groceries, patience, and cash. Self-loathing finally boiled over. I wrote a goodbye letter, left it on his kitchen table, and trudged to the river bridge, determined to jump. Fingers curled around the rail, wind roaring. I pictured the splash, then familiar arms cinched my waist. Jordan had finished work early, read the letter, and driven straight to the spot he knew I'd choose. The dam burst. I ugly cried in his car, confessing the drinking, the freeloading, the endless loop of uselessness. He listened, one hand on the wheel, the other anchoring my shoulder, then nudged me to update the strangers who'd seen my bleak post. Back home, we collapsed on the couch. I sobbed myself to sleep, nestled against the same arms that saved me. Morning sunlight and thousands of supportive messages cracked my tunnel vision wide open. Killing myself would only hand lifelong grief to the man I've already burdened. I won't transform overnight, but today I'm sober, penciling a game plan, detox, therapy, a steady job, and promising Jordan the next time he reaches for me, it'll be for a high five, not a rescue. A story from Express Pressure 5678.
Jordan didn't just halt to suicide. He interrupted a toxic dependency spiral. The OP's shame-fueled freeloading signaled deep depression, not laziness. Rule 1. Separate survival from self-worth. Therapy for trauma, financial boundaries for Jordan, mutual accountability contracts. This friendship can heal without martyrdom.
Hold up. Before knighting Jordan, remember he enabled 5 years of couch surfing. Heroic save, yes, but codependency's a 2-player game. If OP backslides, is Jordan ready to say doors closed? Love without limits isn't love, it's liability. Hard truths need seatbelts, not hugs.
Picture Jordan sprinting like a rom-com hero, while OP's internal soundtrack screeches loser, and then boom, hug tackle. Hollywood can't top that. Now, dear OP, swap the whiskey bottle for a resume. At least one of them won't puke on your shoes.
Listen, man. Gratitude posts will fix addiction. Call Detox today. Schedule therapy tomorrow. Start paying rent next month. Slip again? Pack your bags. Jordan already saved your life. Don't make him save your dignity too. Move, or you'll be back on that bridge.
You proposed a prenup, but stuck her with the lawyer bill. I've been dating Mark since college, doing 6-hour road trips during our long-distance phase. And last year, I uprooted my life twice for his career. Recently, he waved a sparkling ring, then dropped a condition. No wedding without a prenup, and I must hire and pay my own attorney. We both have ordinary salaries, 2 cars, and pets. No houses or secret fortunes. A cross-country move this summer, plus the pricey green card application for his residency already stretches my savings, while he just pocketed a hefty bonus and still out-earns me by 30 grand. I'm fine signing something that mirrors state divorce laws, but footing another $1,000 for paperwork he wants feels like paying an entry fee to my own marriage. I offered to split the cost. He dug in. No prenup, no ceremony. Now I'm torn between fronting the cash, insisting he cover it, or rethinking a future with someone who seems more worried about hedge bets than vows. A story from _RA_thinks123.
Mark frames the prenup as protection, but his insistence she bankroll it screams power imbalance. When one partner dictates terms and sticks the other with the bill, what he's really buying is leverage. OP needs a frank money summit, shared goals, shared costs, transparent timelines. Before any signatures.
Hold up. Prenups aren't villainous, they're seatbelts. If OP might out-earn him soon, locking terms now could safeguard her too. His ask that she fund her lawyer is clumsy, sure, but equal representation matters. Maybe splitting the fee beats grumbling about it and stewing in suspicion.
I'm sorry, did he just invoice her for loving him? Honey, if a guy flashes a ring with a paywall, that's not romance. That's a freemium relationship. OP, tell Mr. Bonus Check to swipe his card or keep swipe scrolling on Tinder.
Reality check. Marriage is a joint venture. Costs should be too. If he refuses to foot $1,000, which she already uprooted her life twice, imagine future sacrifices. OP must demand equitable terms now, or accept she's signing up for a lifetime of lopsided negotiations.
He bought his first time for $110, but did confidence come cheap? At 19, I was still a virgin and overthinking every date. So I booked a 30-minute, $110 session with Jade, a stunning escort. We chatted, undressed, and to my relief, I lasted long enough to call it the real deal. She murmured that I was a 10 out of 10, and whether it was genuine or professional courtesy, it vaporized years of anxiety. I walked back onto the street, feeling taller, calmer, and oddly grown up, as if I had finally crossed a bridge everyone else had already passed. I'm not planning repeat visits or bragging rights. I just wanted the experience, not a habit. I'm keeping it secret offline, but sharing here because shedding that weight feels too good to bottle up. A story from No Limit D Money.
OP didn't purchase intimacy. He purchased an exposure therapy session. The real currency here is agency. He reclaimed control over a storyline that was hijacking his confidence. Now the script. Process feelings, practice genuine connection, and remember that performance praise isn't the same as emotional resonance.
Okay, but what if the escort's compliment was basic marketing? Sure, OP feels taller, but swapping $110 for borrowed validation might be like renting a tux. You look sharp, yet nothing in the closet really changed. Let's see confidence stick when it's not prepaid.
Honey, I love that he clocked out of virginity like it's a shift at Starbucks. 30 minutes? We good? Cool. Break's over. If that receipt boosts his swagger, great. Just don't start a punch card for escorts. The 10 freebie comes with emotional baggage, no whipped cream.
Good for OP. Mission accomplished. Now burn the training wheels and ride. Translate that little ego boost into real-world dates, honest talk, and condoms you buy for yourself. If he circles back to pay for play, the confidence was counterfeit, and he's just renting courage.
One online flirt, 6 years of suspicion. Can this marriage still breathe? 6 years ago, while living with my in-laws and feeling invisible, I slipped into a brief online flirt for attention, instantly regretted it, confessed, and have been squeaky clean ever since. My husband promised forgiveness, but he never really let go. Today, any glance at a stranger, whether I'm admiring a jacket for his wardrobe or trying to place a familiar gym face, triggers an interrogation. He openly comments on other women, but calls my neutral observations flirting. Our fights follow a rote script. He revives my old mistake, denies my feelings, storms off, then acts sunny the next morning as if nothing happened. I'm expected to talk only to male relatives, hand over passwords, and accept 0 apologies. 2 miscarriages have already shaken my confidence. His suspicion turns grief into isolation. Looking back, the red flags were there while we dated. Constant check-ins, Facebook shutdowns, and the mantra that men and women can't just be friends. I misread possessiveness as passion. Now I'm 29, tiptoeing through each day like a parolee, desperate for the trust, respect, and partnership marriage is supposed to bring, yet unsure how to earn what I've already overpaid for. A story from Less-Service 4882.
I'm hearing classic retaliatory control masquerading as trust issues. The OP atoned, but her husband weaponizes the past to dodge accountability and manage his own insecurity. Until he owns his feelings and they set mutual boundaries, preferably with a pro, this marriage will stay stuck in a loop tighter than shrink wrap.
Let's play devil's advocate. The OP broke trust once, sure. But 6 years of micromanaging every eyelash flutter? That's less safety plan, more insecurity marathon. If he can't recalibrate, maybe he secretly enjoys the moral high ground. Either he forgives or he files for divorce. Pick a lane, champ.
Girl, you're being policed like you're starring in Law and Order Peak Squad. Blink at a mannequin and boom, trial by husband. Somebody buy this man a hobby before he drafts an eye contact spreadsheet. Marriage shouldn't feel like TSA. Keep your shoes, ditch the pat downs.
OP, guilt doesn't excuse living under house arrest. You confessed, changed, and endured 6 years of surveillance. His jealousy is his responsibility. Demand counseling and equal rules, or walk. Staying silent teaches him the cage works. Choose self-respect now, or you'll still be explaining side glances at 60.
My past bedroom adventures just shattered my engagement. Can love survive double standards? I always thought John and I were endgame. After 3 happy years, I'd accepted his ring. And apart from a pandemic-paused wedding, we were solid, until a tipsy house party detonated us. A drunk college friend blurted that I'd tried anal with old flings. I laughed it off publicly, but John grilled me privately. We'd never swapped sexual resumes, yet suddenly he wanted every detail. How many partners, which acts. I admitted I'd done anal with about 8 casual hookups, but had zero interest in repeating it. Back then, the taboo, slightly degrading vibe thrilled me. With the man I love, I want tenderness, not power play. John heard only that strangers got the fun version while he got leftovers. He even sneered about me dropping to all fours for a left fielder, then apologized, but intimacy froze solid. Trying to salvage us, I offered a one-time try. The night we attempted it, he moved like a robot, and each thrust made me feel smaller and sadder. When it was over, I cried in the shower. The next morning, we ripped off the Band-Aid. John confessed my past shattered the pedestal he'd placed me on. He couldn't unknow my college promiscuity or stop feeling shortchanged. I realized I couldn't spend a lifetime proving I wasn't damaged goods or reenacting memories that now upset me. We called off the engagement. He helped carry my boxes to a friend's spare room. We hugged goodbye, and that was that. I'm heartbroken, but oddly relieved. I kept my boundaries and learned love can't thrive on resentment. Work is reopening, friends are rallying, and I'll rebuild, with no more secrets and no more bedroom bargains that leave me sobbing under hot water. A story from Throw, RA-HSB.
The OP's partner projected insecurity, not morality. John's mental ledger says new acts equals premium intimacy. So loaning her past upended his mastery narrative. When curiosity met fragile ego, he reframed consensual exploration as betrayal. Until he resolves that scarcity mindset, every bedroom will feel like a competition he's losing.
Everyone crowns John the victim, but let's interrogate the pedestal game. He wanted an untouched trophy, not a partner. The OP's history merely spotlighted his insecurity. She didn't downgrade him, he downgraded himself. Maybe check your masculinity warranty before policing someone else's back catalog.
Okay, so John's ego tripped over 8 backstage passes and face planted. Newsflash, the OP's body isn't a theme park that closes rides after graduation. If he can't handle adult season tickets, bye. Somebody cue Lizzo while we toast to pleasure rebranding and non-refundable engagement rings.
John's entitlement is showing. The OP owes honesty, not reruns of college kink just to soothe his scoreboard. He wants purity? Buy distilled water. Respect her boundary or walk. She already chose self-respect. Next time, vet a partner's maturity before proposing. Rings don't fix insecure minds.
When every simple question turns into a 10-minute saga, can this husband keep his cool? I'm Jake, 30, married to Lena, also 30, for 2 years after 7 of dating. I love Lena's vivid imagination, but lately, it hijacks even the simplest chats. If I ask, when is your dental appointment? She launches into an epic about the receptionist playlist, the weather, that time in college she chipped a molar, then ends with, they'll call me. No date, no time. When I gently interrupt, babe, what day? She looks hurt, accuses me of not listening, and the room chills. 5 minutes later, I still don't have the answer, and we're both irritated. The loop repeats with every topic. Phone calls, bills, dinner plans. I now avoid questions because the kitchen feels like an endless podcast I never subscribed to. I know she's not being cruel. Stories are simply her default. Still, I need straight info before the narration. I want to rescue our banter and my sanity without dimming her sparkle, but I have no clue how to ask for change without sparking another saga. A story from First Bad Dragon.
Lena's stories are her safety blanket, OP. She buys time, checks for empathy, and quietly asks, Will you stay with me in this memory? Strip it to needs, info versus connection. Start by mirroring one sentence, then set a boundary. Need the date, then I'm all ears for the saga.
Hold up. Maybe OP's the one clinging to bullet point efficiency like a spreadsheet addict. Marriage isn't a Slack channel. If he can't spare 5 minutes, what else is he shortcutting? Switch roles, craft a story back at her. If she still steamrolls, then we can talk compromise.
Girl, my toddler does the same thing with bedtime. Stall, repeat, distract. I'd grab a kitchen timer, ding at 90 seconds, and yell, "Headline, woman." Make it a game. Answer first, bonus points for flair later. Keeps the love alive and the pasta from overboiling.
Enough circles. OP must set the rule. Direct question, direct answer, stories after. State it, enforce it, repeat. If she refuses, try joint counseling before resentment goes nuclear. Love without clarity is noise. Cut the static or expect the signal to die.
Mom forced me into a hot dog costume. Her surprise Snow White redemption left me speechless. I came home from college with my boyfriend for family movie night when a Target ad of a little girl in a hot dog suit flashed across the TV. Mom laughed and told everyone that 8-year-old me had begged for a hot dog costume, casting herself as the cool DIY hero. I froze because the real story was the opposite. I had been Snow White obsessed, had the ballet princess slot, and Dad was hunting the perfect gown. Mom, wanting to be quirky, stitched a felt frankfurter, and Halloween morning threatened to ban my favorite movie unless I wore it. I trudged to school looking like cafeteria lunch, while every other girl twirled tulle, and they teased me for weeks. The memory still burned, so in front of my boyfriend, I corrected Mom, joking that I coped by pretending she was the evil queen, shoving me into garbage meat rags. Mom went silent. Later cried over old photos, and I panicked that I had blown up our bond. For months, things were only slightly awkward. Last weekend, she collected me after work, handed me Luxe shampoo, told me to get glam, then revealed the most exquisite Snow White dress imaginable. Rich velvet bodice, puffed sleeves, gold trim, a skirt that actually swished. She herself wore the Wicked Queen getup and whisked me to the new Snow White film. Little kids asked for photos. For the first time, I felt like the princess I'd dreamed of being. Afterward, she apologized for bulldozing my wishes, insisting she had only wanted me to feel unique, not punished. I believed her, forgave her on the spot, and we left the theater arm in arm planning more princess days. Speaking up was painful, but gave us the fairy tale do-over we both needed. A story from Throw RA Halloween Dread.
Mom tried the quirky parent shortcut, but forgot Rule 1, ask the child. The OP's public correction cracked the rosy varnish and let real empathy seep in. Hot dog cloth was a symptom. Accountability plus that velvet gown delivered the cure.
Everyone's piling on Mom, but admit it. Parents rewrite history all the time. The OP's mic drop yanked her off the nostalgia throne. Tears were tuition. The Snow White makeover was graduation. Embarrassment, wisely spent, can buy growth.
From processed meat couture to Disney royalty, talk about a gourmet upgrade. If my mom served that glow up, I'd forget every bad haircut she ever gave me. Next Thanksgiving, show up in the gown and garnish the turkey with comedic justice.
Good move, OP. Truth before comfort. Mom's apology is solid. Keep receipts anyway. Boundaries are like swords. Polished often, used seldom, but always at the ready when another quirky idea approaches.
10-year love versus one quick move. Will she stay or walk away? I was 16 when I fell for Ryan, the charming senior who made lunchtime feel like prom. 10 years later, we're engaged and house hunting in our hometown. Then last October, he casually announced he was moving to North Carolina. 16 hours away. No job, no apartment. He still wanted us, but the suitcases were non-negotiable. 3 panicked weeks later, I quit my dream job, hugged my family goodbye, and followed him south. The honeymoon lasted 1 weekend. Ryan thrived on fresh starts. I marinated in homesickness. My new office is soul-sucking. The town feels sterile, and my social life is the neighbor's cat. When I say I'm miserable, Ryan turns clingy and upset, yet offers no plan beyond give it time. Last week, I visited home for the first time in 6 months. My heart did cartwheels. I laughed with Mom, strolled Main Street, and remembered who I was before relocation fatigue set in. Ryan then admitted he's done with our original state for good. Now I'm staring at an impossible choice. stay in a life that fits him but strangles me, or move back alone and slice a decade-long love story down the middle. We're edging toward 30, and the teenage dream of forever suddenly feels like a thrift store dress, sentimental but too tight. I love him, but I'm drowning in compromise, and the clock is ticking. A story from a previous Reddit user.
The OP's heart is waving a red flag bigger than a beach towel. She's running on sacrifice. He's running on impulse. That power imbalance, he chooses, she follows, will ferment resentment. Love thrives on shared vision. Schedule a deep value summit or accept its graduation day.
Hold up, everyone's roasting the fiancé, but OP handed him her steering wheel. You bounce states for someone without a job plan? That's not love. That's codependency cosplay. Both need to upgrade from high school default mode to adult negotiation or hit the single-player campaign.
Girl, you moved 16 hours for a dude with zero address and less game plan than a toddler's tea party. No wonder you're homesick. The North Carolina welcome basket didn't include friends, biscuits, or your dream job. Pack your bags or demand equal airtime. This sitcom needs rewrites.
Listen, misery now means misery later, just with more sunk costs. Draft a 2-year roadmap with non-negotiables, location, career, timeline. If he won't collaborate, walk. 10 years is history class. Your future is the only subject that matters.
I caught my girlfriend and best friend on camera. Was booting them out too extreme? When Lana moved into my house a year ago, everything felt storybook. My lifelong best friend Mark still had a spare key and sometimes dropped by to grab his tools. We were practically brothers, so it never felt weird. I was secretly planning to propose during an upcoming vacation and even had us daydreaming about starting a farm together. Last week, we attended a boozy family get-together where Mark is considered one of the clan. The next morning, Lana tearfully confessed they had kissed while drunk. My stomach dropped, but I needed proof, so I checked the security footage. There it was. Lana approached him. They kissed. He lingered. She invited him inside. He peeled off his shirt, and only then did she pull away. Betrayal from two sides. Heart hammering, I packed her belongings into her car, handed Mark his toolbox, revoked his key, and told them both to leave. Now the house is silent, sleep won't come, and I'm wondering if cutting them off was justified. A story from over-round 1787.
Both betrayals were predictable. Shared keys, blurred boundaries, late-night drinks, the petri dish for temptation. Alcohol disinhibits, it doesn't dictate. The kiss proves unspoken attraction. OP's swift eviction protects his attachment system. Next steps, grief work, tighter access rules, and friends who earn keys, not inherit them.
Twitter would crucify the cheaters, but I'm side-eyeing OP's setup. Co-living girlfriend, unlocked toolshed friendship, unlimited booze. That's basically an infidelity Kickstarter. Responsibility isn't a pie. There's plenty for everyone. Mark and Lana sliced a big chunk, sure, but OP baked the crust.
Lana mouth diving on Mark was messy enough, but the shirt off encore? Straight to streaming cringe. OP's porch eviction scene deserves popcorn and a slow clap. Sweetie, swap the proposal ring for a padlock combo and maybe a no shirt, no kiss, no key household policy.
Heartache is temporary. Betrayal risk is permanent. Change the locks today, block them tomorrow. Therapy Thursday. Repeat until the craving fades. Farming dreams can wait. Emotional crop rotation comes first. Miss her all you want, but don't invite pests back into the barn.
Best friend brands me a pick-me after her flirty boyfriend crosses the line. What now? Jess and I have been tight since sophomore year of college. I'm 21, she's 22, and until recently, we were inseparable. A few months ago, she started dating Mark, an affable guy who blended into our friend group. At first, the shift was subtle. Whenever we met up, Mark slid into the seat beside me, laughed a little too loudly at my jokes, and peppered me with personal questions. I clocked the vibe, but kept conversation polite and brief, even positioning Jess between us whenever I could. Still, her mood changed. She teased that guys always orbit me, or smirk that I must love the attention. I brushed it off as banter. Last weekend, the tension detonated. We were at a house party when Mark, properly buzzed, told 2 classmates I was so hot. Word got back to Jess. She yanked me onto the porch and unloaded. Apparently, I was acting like a pick-me, soaking up her boyfriend's flirtation and secretly hoping to steal him. I was speechless. I'd never messaged the guy, met him alone, or even touched him. She stormed off and ghosted me the rest of the night. The next morning, her texts were ice cold, so I asked to talk. Over coffee, I told her the accusation stung and laid out the receipts, me steering conversations back to her, switching seats, keeping my distance. She admitted their relationship was shaky and mumbled that she shouldn't have said that. But the words "I'm sorry" never arrived. Instead, she pivoted to her insecurity, complaining Mark gawks at other women too. I sympathized, but reminded her I'm not the problem. She nodded, changed the subject, and acted like the fight was over. For me, it isn't. I'm stepping back, hanging with other friends, and letting Jess decide whether she wants a boyfriend who ogles strangers or a friend she can trust. If she reaches out with a real apology, great. Until then, I'm not volunteering as the scapegoat. A story from pretend_surprise_673.
Jess's lashing out is a classic displacement maneuver. The threat isn't OP, it's her fragile sense of control. Until Jess owns her jealousy and puts boundaries on Mark, the friendship sits on quicksand. OP's best play is distance plus one clear invitation for real accountability.
Everybody's piling on Jess, but Mark's the real puppeteer here. He enjoys stirring competition. Free ego boost. OP didn't bite, so Jess became the soft target. Unpopular take. If you never spotlight the dude's disrespect, you're kinda enabling the circus. Confront him once, watch the mask slip.
I'm over here picturing Mark giggling beside OP like a puppy on espresso, while Jess shoots laser eyes across the couch. Daytime soap energy, y'all. Newsflash, you can't be a pick-me if you never ordered off the menu. Dump the clown. Call an Uber for the insecure audience.
Cut the sentimentality. Jess hurled an insult, dodged an apology, and kept the boyfriend who started the fire. That's a data point, not a mystery. OP should downgrade the friendship, refuse solo hangouts with Mark, and let consequences land where they belong. No more free passes.
She came out as gay. Can our friendship survive the ruins of our marriage? I'm 32 and my wife Lily, 31, married young and raised 2 kids together. We coasted on love, but never mastered real talk. Last year, Lily began therapy, started questioning her sexuality, and I, still battling depression, chose to support her. I later clawed my way back to emotional health, only to hear her gentle, unwavering verdict. She's gay, and our marriage is over. We now live like polite roommates, parenting smoothly, sleeping in separate rooms, avoiding fights. She seems lighter, texting new friends and plotting a future without me. I act fine, but every quiet evening feels like sitting in an empty theater after the credits roll. I'm not ready to date, I just ache to feel wanted. Mourning the partnership while trying to be a steady dad is exhausting, and I fear loneliness will swallow me before I find a new sense of home. A story from a previous Reddit user.
OP's heartbreak is real, but notice the growth arc. Her therapy sparked authenticity, his recovery sparked insight. Intimacy died because orientation isn't negotiable. Homework. Grieve consciously, draft a co-parenting charter, and build separate emotional ecosystems. Safety lies in clear boundaries, not orbiting her new life like a moon.
Hold up. Everyone's applauding Lily's courage, but let's dissect timing. She waited until his depression lifted to drop the gay grenade. Compassion? Maybe. Convenience? Definitely. OP shouldn't just be the soft landing pad. Secure rent, legal clarity, and a deadline for separate roofs.
Chile, this is the sitcom nobody ordered. 2 parents and a closet swipe. OP's in sweatpants demolishing cereal while Lily's swiping right on Melissa. Cue the laugh track and DoorDash a therapist. Bro, upgrade from roommate to DILF discovering hobbies and watch the season ratings soar.
Brother, stop auditioning for most understanding ex. She left the marriage, not the kids. Set a move-out deadline, lawyer up, and hit the gym. Discipline breeds confidence. She's chasing her truth, you chase yours. Staying in limbo is choosing pain on layaway.
He called out mom for skipping his 21st birthday, family shocked by the receipts. All 6 of us usually celebrate spring birthdays with Sunday dinners of whoever's choice. Last year, my brothers picked Red Lobster and Steak and Shake. Dad chose the casino buffet. Mom wanted IHOP, and my sister splurged on a seafood boil. My turn landed June 30th, my 21st, but Marine Reserve drill kept me away until July 10th. So Mom promised we'd hit the Cheesecake Factory the Sunday I got home. That morning, Dad, a doctor, was paged into surgery. Mom sighed and told me we'd reschedule. Weeks passed. Each time I asked, money or timing got in the way. By August, the subject vanished. Fast forward to this week. Kid brother Tim is turning 19, and Mom's raving about how last year was perfect. Bitterness I didn't know I still carried slipped out. For everyone else. She swore we had gone out, so I told her to find the photo she's always snapping. She scrayed through June, July, August, nothing. The silence was louder than a dropped tray. Dad later called me a jerk for implying they don't care. I told him, I know they do, but for getting hurt. I'm moving out soon, yet I still wonder if I should have kept quiet. A story from Shozo 459.
Mom's amnesia points to a systemic empathy glitch, not a calendar conflict. The OP's quiet resentment only surfaced because nobody noticed the emotional overdraft. Action step. Parents schedule individual check-ins, not just restaurant rounds, so birthdays become connections, not transactions.
Hold up. Why is everyone dunking on Mom when Dad bailed first? He's the high-earning doc who left the candle unlit, yet OP aims at Mom. Maybe the real blind spot is how we expect moms to triage feelings while dads get a free medical pass.
Y'all, if my family forgot my 21st, I'd staple cheesecake menus to their foreheads and demand a fork. OP stayed classy, just let the empty photo album clap back. Next birthday, he needs a neon sign. Reserve the date or pay for my therapy.
OP, bitterness is compost. Spread it or it stinks. You prove the point. Now set a deadline. Either they take you to dinner this month or you take yourself and send the receipt. Stop waiting for overdue apologies. Reclaim the calendar.
Ex's new girl dunked on my mental health. My clapback shook the bar. I grew up bullied, so even though I usually choose kindness, I perfected a razor-sharp comeback. My bipolar 2, OCD, and ADHD are mostly under control, but they still make me a soft target. My ex Mark ended things by ghosting me, trash-talking me, and parading new flings past my house. His latest girlfriend, Lana, seemed harmless until we landed at the same bar with mutual friends. She began whispering digs, then strutted past our table shouting that she was the best girl he'd ever had. I rolled my eyes and kept dancing. Hours later, while I beaded outside the bathroom stalls for my friends, Lana cornered me, her buddy filming. In a syrupy monologue, she said I was pretty but too mentally ill for Mark. My temper snapped. I snarled and replied, maybe if you weren't so fat, he wouldn't still be liking my bikini pics. Their phones sagged, faces paled, and Lana zipped her jacket like armor. Minutes later, she was crying in the restroom. Then security escorted her out for being too drunk. Now half our circle says I should apologize because her cruelty came from insecurity and Mark's disrespect, while the rest say she earned the burn. I'm left basking in petty satisfaction, yet wondering if I sank to their level. A story from Anya Gold, 234.
OP's comeback was technically proportional, but the real issue is Mark weaponizing both women. Lana lashed out because she feels disposable. OP retaliated from old wounds. The cure? Remove the puppet strings, block Mark, disengage, and let each woman heal without his spotlight.
Hold up. Everyone's ragging on OP, but Lana marched in with a camera and a dissertation on mental illness. That's premeditated cruelty. OP's size zinger? Brutal, yet symmetrical. Moral of the story, if you launch missiles, don't whine when the target fires back.
Girl, this was two raccoons wrestling over yesterday's fries while the trash can, hi Mark, cheers them on. Lana served mental health shade, you served caloric facts. Nobody left with dignity, but at least the bouncer got entertainment. Next time, clap your hands, say awkward, and moonwalk away.
Stop debating semantics. OP, you know body shaming was a cheap shot. Block the clown X. Apologize for the weight jab, then move on. Keeping toxic people on your radar is like drinking expired milk. You'll just keep gagging.
My kid's sister begged an AI to assault her. Can I save her in time? I am 21 and thanks to our checked-out immigrant parents, have basically raised my little sister Mia, now 13. She was sweet and clueless about sex until she met Allie, a scar-armed new classmate who lives on Discord. Within months, Mia was glued to her phone, talking back, secretly dating a boy from school, and parroting Wikipedia stats about eating disorders and suicide. She even scratched her arms to match Allie's cuts and called herself an empath after comforting an online stranger who threatened to overdose during our family vacation. I got Mom to move her to a different school, but the drama just went digital. Today, I searched Mia's laptop and found her on character.ai, chatting with a bot titled Popstar B and Boyfriend Adopt You. She recounts her real life to the bot in minute detail, what she cooked, when I napped in her room, then claims she was molested as a child, sprinkles in Awareness Month facts, and scripts graphic rape scenes where the bot and its boyfriend assault her. On Discord, she flatly tells friends she has an eating disorder. No hesitation. I have tried to get her therapy, but appointments are during school and my parents refuse to pay. They barely notice her, let alone her brother, who never does homework. I work long hours and feel trapped. I am the only adult paying attention while Mia treats made-up trauma like a social badge. I am terrified these fantasies will push her toward real-world danger, and I have no idea how to intervene without my parents blowing up or Mia shutting down. A story from 3 XO pairs, 2 OX pairs, then 4 Os.
OP is playing lone lifeguard while the adults nap on shore. Sister's behavior screams identity vacuum. She's borrowing Allie's trauma to feel interesting. Solution? Contain the digital playground. Parental controls, short-term therapy via school counselor, and scheduled offline rituals that anchor who to real, witnessed achievements.
Let's pump the brakes. Blaming Allie alone is lazy. Teens test personas like TikTok filters. The bigger issue is your ghost mode parents. Quit being a clandestine cop. Drag them into the mess. If they won't step up, loop in the pediatrician or school social worker and force accountability.
I'm sorry, did Mia download the Tragedy Starter Pack bundle? Girls collecting issues like Pokemon cards, ED, cutting, fake essay, all for extra likes in the group chat. Time to uninstall drama DLC and reinstall chores, fresh air, and a Wi-Fi curfew before Season 2 drops.
Stop hand-wringing and start documenting. Screenshot the disturbing chats, draft a timeline, and march it to her school counselor tomorrow. Parents refuse? Fine. Mandatory reporters don't. Your sister isn't evil. She's reckless. She needs professional eyes, not another secret raid on her laptop.
She invited us on a dream vacation, but our secret reason for refusing shocked her. I adore our friend Anna. She's the kind of bubbly sweetheart who still thinks the nightly news is optional. Over latte foam, she finally launched her dream. Fly a bunch of friends to her family's luxury villa in the Middle East. She beamed as if she'd offered me front row Beyoncé tickets, and sure enough, she asked if my wife Taylor and I would come. Taylor had already looked up the country's laws the moment rumors of this trip started. Homosexuality, illegal, arrests on record, especially for anyone who can't pass as straight. Taylor's a dapper, unmistakably butch woman. Safety isn't a cute Instagram filter for us. So when Anna invited me, I smiled and said, "Thanks, but we can't." She pushed, "Why not?" I answered plainly, "Because we're gay and that country criminalizes people like us." Anna blinked, muttered, "Oh," and dove into a new topic as fast as her spoon stirred the coffee. That night, my phone pinged. Anna said I'd humiliated her for not knowing the law, claimed I was so blunt, insisted she wasn't homophobic, just travel happy. I felt guilty for a heartbeat. Should I have blamed airfare instead? Until Taylor reminded me no vacation is worth handcuffs or worse. I'm still torn between wanting to soothe Anna's hurt feelings and refusing to risk our safety just to keep her bubble intact. A story from OK-Tower 7381.
Anna's embarrassment isn't about OP's bluntness. It's about her own blind spot. When someone else's identity becomes a travel footnote, that's a power imbalance screaming for attention. Homework before invitations, easy fix. OP named the elephant, and that's healthy boundary setting, not rudeness.
Hold up, Anna's ignorance isn't a federal offense, and OP's "because we're gay" line did swerve from 0 to 60. A softer heads up could have preserved the friendship and taught the lesson. Everyone's right and wrong here. The real crime is nobody Googled before lattes.
Girl, Anna inviting married lesbians to a no-gays-allowed country is like asking vegans to a barbecue joint, then getting salty when they mention the meat. That's sitcom gold. Somebody hand her a world map with rainbow warning stickers before she books the group rate.
Facts. Authorities jail people for being gay there. Friendship doesn't override personal safety. OP's stated reality. Anna's feelings aren't handcuffs proof. She can lick her wounds or learn international law, but guilt-tripping the OP is manipulative. End of story. Stay home, stay safe.
Surprise dog at lunch sparks panic. Is walking out justified? I met 3 friends at a trendy new patio cafe, still haunted by a childhood dog bite that makes any pup feel like a loaded gun. Everyone knows this, especially Jess, our resident dog lover, who normally leaves her pets home. She arrived last, clutching the leash of a bear-sized dog, and slid into her seat as the animal parked itself beside my chair. My chest tightened, menu words swam, and all I could picture were teeth. I whispered an apology, told the group I hadn't even ordered, and slipped away. Mark gave an understanding nod, the others waved, and I hustled down the street before panic bubbled over. An hour later, Jess texted that my exit was over the top and disrespectful, because her dog is angelic, and I'd have forgotten it was there. Now I'm spiraling. Did I protect my mental health or insult a friend? I don't expect lifelong bans on her dogs, but she had agreed to my boundary. Was leaving the gentlest option or an unnecessary snub? A story from Winnie_the_piss.
OP's fear response is valid. Jess was briefed on that boundary and broke it. This isn't about canine manners. It's about consent to exposure. Leaving early was a nervous system self-rescue, not a social snub. Next step is an upfront talk, re-trigger warnings.
Hold up. Jess may have assumed a patio equals neutral zone. If OP never reminded her, the leash could look harmless. Friendship means negotiating, not one-sided vetoes. Maybe both need fewer assumptions and more calendar notes. Dog-free or dog-friendly, before the Uber even books.
Girl, I'd bolt too. My latte foam isn't a chew toy. Next time, slap a bright, no pups, no problem sticker on the invite. Jess can parade her woofer at the dog park. The brunch table is for mimosas, not muzzle flashbacks.
Face the phobia, OP. Therapy, desensitization, the works. Running forever shrinks your life and strains friends. Jess crossed a line, sure, but long-term, you need tools, not exits. Put recovery on the calendar before the next surprise leash derails another outing.
Coworker rubs my belly at lunch. Was my fiery clapback too much? I was in line at our office's fiesta-themed lunch when I opened my Nest Cam and laughed about the little bird that visits me daily. My coworker Beth, who loves hinting I'm expecting, suddenly slid her hand across my stomach and chirped, "Maybe you've got a baby bird on the way." Rage flared, so I moved her hand and shot back, "Don't wish that kind of bad luck on me." Beth recoiled. My boss's eyebrows rocketed. And the lunch line fell silent like someone hit pause on the maracas. I'm not pregnant. I don't even look it, and I hate unsolicited touches. Yet somehow I became the party pooper. Now rumors swirl about my attitude while I replay the scene, wondering if standing up for my own body really made me the jerk. A story from Annie Delacroix.
I see a classic boundary breach. Beth used faux maternal touch to assert dominance and prime office gossip. The OP's sharp rebuff was an emergency fence repair, not an overreaction. Next step, calmly tell Beth, "My body is off limits," comments included. Early clarity prevents chronic drama.
Hold up. Everyone's roasting Beth, but why label pregnancy bad luck? That dig guarantees drama. Want rumors gone? Torch the touch, not the idea of kids. Still, someone buy Beth a GPS. Her hands keep trespassing.
Girl, this ain't Build-A-Baby. If somebody pats my belly mid-queso, I'm yelling, "Piñata's empty. Move along." Beth needs a hobby that doesn't involve human petting.
OP. Next time say, "Hands off. This is harassment." Then file an HR ticket. Boss witnessed the violation, so use it. Skip witty burns. Secure documented boundaries.
I gave my boyfriend a 6-month ultimatum. Weeks later, he married his ex. I dated Mark for 4 years, starting when I was 29 and he was 31. He was affectionate but slow to commit, and a shadow always hovered, his university ex Lily. He had once bought her a ring, and whenever they crossed paths, he seemed to glow. I even encouraged a closure coffee, and after that, his warmth toward me cooled. Still, he swore he loved me, so I stayed. By year 4, I demanded clarity and told him I would wait only 6 more months for a proposal. He stalled, then dumped me days later, claiming he could not see marriage with me anytime soon. I moved out, suspecting Lily was the reason. Mutual friends soon confirmed they had reunited. He even insisted on delivering my remaining boxes himself, so I would not witness her in his house. 2 months on, social media showed wedding photos. Mark and Lily had tied the knot in a quiet registry ceremony. The required legal notice meant he proposed barely weeks after ending things with me. Realizing I had been convenient company, a placeholder for companionship and sex, made me ill, but finally snapped the leash of lingering affection. My ultimatum saved years of waiting for a ring that was never meant for me. And I am rebuilding my life with a vow to trust my instincts and never audition for a role already cast. A story from Greener Grass 9798.
OP's gut was a loud smoke alarm she kept muting. 4 years, no timeline, plus a ring purchased for another woman? That is not ambiguity. It is evidence. When a partner dodges commitment, they announce their priorities. Diagnose, disengage, seek a partner whose eyes light up only for you.
Before we stone the guy, remember stagnation takes two. OP spotted the X-shaped shadow in year 1, yet renewed the lease on uncertainty 3 more times. Silence gave him the green light. Next time, ask early, act fast, and refuse to co-author inertia.
Girl, he treated you like a standby hoodie, kept you cozy till the designer jacket came back in stock. Toss that ragged cotton, throw on confidence, and sashay into a store that actually values your size.
Data is in. A man who wants you locks it down. No flowcharts needed. He hesitated. Translation? He was never in. Cut losses, upgrade standards, and build a life so good an eventual partner has to level up to join it.
Should my student girlfriend pay $1,000 rent while I cover the rest in pricey SoCal? I'm 28, settled in my SoCal career, and decent apartments here run $1,800 to $2,500. After 2 years together, my 26-year-old girlfriend and I decided to move in. I figured I'd swallow about $2,000 each month, and she costs in $1,000 toward rent, utilities, and groceries. She nearly choked. Juggling nursing classes and per diem shifts means her cash is unpredictable, and $1,000 felt like a ball and chain. She countered with $500 tops and quoted TikTok couples where boyfriends foot the whole bill. After a few calmish talks, we met in the middle. She'll pitch $400 to $800 depending on her weekly shifts. I'll cover the rest so she can focus on exams, and we'll revisit the split once she's an RN. I'm happy investing in our future, but still wonder if I'm being stingy or sensible. A story from Lil_SA_GG.
Power split screens imbalance. The OP wants partnership, yet frames rent like a landlord. She wants financial safety to study. Solution: negotiate based on income percentages, not round numbers. That reframes them from debtor-creditor into teammates building future equity.
Hold up. Why's everyone crowning her a victim? Nursing students can rack decent per diem money. If she contributes 0 now, inertia sets in and OP becomes her ATM. A 40-60 split isn't cruel. It teaches budgeting and respects the hustle both partners bring.
Girl, if rent were a TikTok dance, you'd still need to shake a little cash. $500 in SoCal barely buys avocado toast. Split it fair, snag some ramen, and call it nursing school chic. Nobody wants a boyfriend turned full-time landlord.
OP, decide. Partner or patron? If you front most costs, set a clear timeline and budget. If she bulks, don't move in. Resentment is pricier than rent. Grow a spine, draft numbers, get signatures, or stay solo.
The cruel backlash against Bella Ramsey? But why? Before anyone jumps down my throat, know this. Bella Ramsey was only 17 when cameras rolled on The Last of Us. Yet middle-aged men keep flooding my feeds with cruel remarks about her looks. I'm 21 and sickened. Since when did playing a kid require fitting society's shifting beauty template? These guys preach natural, yet trash a teen for having exactly that. They sneer she isn't Ellie enough, as if polygons are holy scripture, ignoring how she nails the clothes, haircut, attitude, and most importantly, her acting. If HBO called you at 17, you'd sprick to set and figure the rest out later. They also mock her off-screen style. Newsflash, she's queer, and our fashion lens is wider. What haunts me is the mental fallout. Thousands of strangers calling you ugly while you're still learning adulthood can wreck anyone. By every account, Bella is humble, unproblematic, and sweet, strumming a ukulele in interviews while the internet judges her face like it's a crime. So yeah, if you can't be kind, shut it. Let Bella live, grow, and keep giving us killer performances without wading through your insecurity-soaked bile. A story from Moo the Dummy. OP spots a classic beauty standard double bind. Society worships natural, then punishes any face that dares show up unfiltered. The backlash isn't about Bella. It's about threatened egos. Step 1, call out hypocrisy. Step 2, redirect attention to actual performance, not packaging.
Slow down, folks. We're dunking on grown men, but streaming platforms feed on controversy. Maybe the algorithm keeps these haters loud because rage sells tickets. If OP really wants change, target the echo chamber, not just the trolls. Starve the clicks and watch the bullies vanish.
Extra it. Bella trying to buy cereal, some dude cops up yelling, "You're not Polygon perfect." Bro, she's hunting clickers, not winning Miss Mushroom pageant. Maybe let the teenager act, and you go moisturize that crusty attitude. Next episode of The Last of Us? The last of your Wi-Fi.
Grown men trashing a 17-year-old's face? Embarrassing. Log off, hit a squat rack, and fix your own reflection before critiquing hers. OP's right. Talent matters, not cheekbone symmetry. Either support good work or shut up. This isn't a democracy of insecurities.
He woke up groping a friend. Now his marriage is on the line. I've always been an active sleeper. My wife has laughed for years about me starting sensual sex mid-slumber, only for me to wake mid-thrust with zero memory. We thought it was a quirky dream habit until last weekend. My wife skipped a routine camping trip, so I bunked in our usual 4-person tent with 2 male buddies and our purely platonic friend Taylor. After some beers, we crashed. Before dawn, I snapped awake to a nightmare. My sleeping bag was open. My hand was on Taylor's backside. Her hand was cupping me, and she was kissing my neck. Shocked, I recoiled and spent the rest of the night by the dying fire. Taylor followed, saying I'd started rubbing her in my sleep. Assuming I wanted more, she turned to reciprocate. Conversation over, I drove home heartsick and confessed everything. My wife hit the nuclear button, called it cheating, and holed up at her sister's. While she processed, I dove into research, discovered a real disorder called sexomnia, and booked a doctor visit. He confirmed the likely diagnosis and referred me to a specialist who may try medication. Armed with facts, I reached out again. After reading the same material, my wife accepted that I'd had no conscious control, noted that I stopped the moment I woke, and appreciated my immediate honesty. We agreed our big mistake was treating the episodes as harmless quirks. New rules: I never sleep near anyone but her, will limit booze on trips, and counseling is on the table. I messaged Taylor to apologize and explain. She admitted getting lost in the moment, apologized for encouraging it, and we mutually ended the friendship. One buddy later revealed I once petted his back on another trip, proof the disorder isn't about attraction, only rogue wiring. The scare shook me, but it also forced us to treat my sleep life with the seriousness it deserves before something worse happens. A story from Direct-Caterpillar 77.
Pattern check. The OP's real betrayal isn't lust, it's negligence. When you know strange things happen in your sleep, you build safeguards, locks, separate cots, alarms. Owing the risk, contain it, and brief your partner beforehand. Information plus boundaries equals trust rebuilt.
Hold up. Everyone's clowning Taylor, yet she woke to a trusted pal caressing her. Alcohol, darkness, mixed signals, she gambled wrong. The OP's the human roulette wheel here. Blaming her alone is like cursing the mirror because the bulb exploded. Accountability starts with the sleeper.
Girl, imagine thinking you're spooning harmlessly, and bam, human alarm clock on your butt. I'd have screamed, not swooned. Note to self: if friend snoozes like a frisky Roomba, I'm pitching my own tent, 5 campsites away, with a moat of unsexy dad snoring.
Doors closed. Excuses are over. The OP now knows his body can assault on autopilot. Non-negotiable fix. Separate sleeping quarters. Medical follow-up. 0 booze before bed. If he skips any step and another mishap occurs, that's not a disorder. It's deliberate recklessness.